And we're back.
And we're back. Listen, there's no coffee and beer here. What's going on?
We need to get a beer sponsor.
Be nice. Wouldn't mind a
We need to work on
Swifty.
that. Any beer sponsors out there, please send beer
No,
our
you
way.
shouldn't be saying it like that. We just did the whole subtle ask question.
In today's, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Give us beer.
There we go. Springbok World Cup squad is the next segment.
Woo!
This
We're
is
going to
gonna-
ruffle some feathers. Let me rephrase that. You might ruffle some feathers.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers.
I think I might too.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I actually want to talk to you about your squad because you showed me a squad earlier. So I had to talk you off the bridge.
You talked me into a few.
I had to talk you off the bridge because you wanted to take two scrum offs. You wanted to Eddie Jones the Springboks, and I must be honest, I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm fine.
You talked me into 3 scrum offs.
Wow, gee, I don't know. The whole world might have done it. Maybe Eddie Jones was a little bit different.
I was on Eddie's page, you see.
But
And you were blowing smoke up Eddie's arse earlier, so it's pretty much the same
he's
thing.
not the worst. We wouldn't have any issues with him coaching any of our Super Rugby sides, to be honest.
So 2 scrummies would not be a bad idea.
I don't know. I still don't necessarily think that's a great.
But anyway,
shout.
you talked me into 3 scrummies.
Yes, but then there was a big thing about obviously the locks and the loosies and how that balances out is huge. Who the fifth prop's going to be?
I think that's a problem.
Yes, I did enjoy that conversation. So let's stick with the pack because then you're going to drop some bombs later.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know who our 4 props are.
Yeah.
Our 2 loosies and our 2 tighties.
Yeah, I got that down.
So the only contentious one is possibly Malherbe, but he's going. So we've come to peace with that.
Yes.
Okay. So
I think that's done and dusted.
yeah, so we've got Beast, Kitsov, Nyakane, Malherbe.
Yeah.
And Nyakane can play both sides.
That's it.
So he could technically go as the 5th prop, but obviously our first choice tight head. So then for me, we are either going to take another dual playing prop in Thomas du Toit, or we are going to take a tight head in Vincent Koch. That's the way it's going to be. For me, I don't think Gqoboka is going to go as a tight head. We're not going to have 3 tight heads. We'd rather have... we're not going to have 3 loose heads. We're going to have 3 tight heads.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the toss-up for me. That's a tough one. Like, that really can go either way. My concern is, obviously we haven't seen the squad for this weekend, but if Thomas doesn't play and doesn't get game time,
Then that's him gone.
don't think he goes to the World Cup. As that fifth
So then
choice.
it's going to be Vincent Koch, no?
Koch, World Cup got called up for this weekend.
You reckon he's going to earn a...
He's been around the squad. He
hasn't been in the Rugby Championship squad this
No,
whole
he
year,
hasn't.
hasn't he? He hasn't.
But it's only 3 games that he's missed out.
Yes, but he's missed 5-6 weeks of squad work.
Yeah, but he's been in the camp though.
Okay. I don't think
It
so.
could be.
He had a
that one
good
is
year
a
last
toss-up.
year, and I was surprised that he got overlooked as... like the way he did, to be fair.
I think I know this is Twitter talk again and social media talk, people throwing Cooney's neck around and stuff like that, but I think he's been out of the setup now for a bit. When
He's
I say out
been
the
in
setup,
and out, as
when
well.
I say out the setup, I mean recently out the setup.
Mm.
I don't know if he's going to be able to do enough to work his way into
I don't have a
the
problem with
selection.
him because, like, I really like what he offers off the bench, and
Yeah.
in terms of the loose play, and I think he's probably one of the best at it of the fringe players we're discussing. I think in terms of the loose, he's a good shot. He has fallen out of favor, so we've got options there, but I don't know what's going to happen if Koch doesn't play this weekend as well.
I
Then
think he's also
there's also more
Yeah.
questions. So, but we have to take 5 props.
I agree with you.
So-
I don't think there's any
So it would be interesting to see how we do. Okay, locks.
three
You-
hookers done.
Yeah, and I think Skulk Brits goes.
Yeah.
I think what he's going to add to the squad and how he will bring value in the smaller games, and like you said, the Bobby Skinstad factor.
He'll be the
that-
Skinstad
that he
of
brought
this
in
squad.
07, yeah. Okay, so you drop your first little bomb.
4 locks.
Yeah, locks and loosies. Well, we got to combo them with you the way you set it up.
I've gone 4 locks. I think it's Loert, or Eben Loert, Ergier, and Mostert.
Okay.
Go. You said 3 locks.
Yeah, I don't quite know. It depends on how we're going to balance things around. So obviously, Mostert can play blindside, which is huge in terms of the loose trio factor. And listen, I think our first choice currently would be Eben and Lewitt as the starting locks. And you see, if Franco plays on the bench, then he can cover 2 positions, which makes him a little bit more versatile. So
it's quite surprising because Franco played both crunch games the last 2 weeks.
So maybe he's going. Maybe I reckon 99% of the squad that played against the All Blacks and Argentina are going.
And then we go to, so in that point I've taken 4, so I've gone 5 Lucy's, which I presume you will go 6 Lucy's.
If I went with 3.
If you went with 3.
Yeah.
So I've gone, if Sia gets through, no problems, obviously, touch wood, no injury, no nothing, he obviously goes. I think Dwayne Vermeulen obviously goes. Pieter-Steph du Toit don't even have to talk about that, covers 2 positions as well. I think Flo is Rassi's 7 out of 10 man. Never lets him down.
Hasn't let us down in the rugby champs. So
people like to hate him. He's a Damien, but just doesn't let us down at all. So I think he goes. And I'm going to throw a little bit of a wild card. I think our 5th one, and some people are going to love this, and I really do hope he goes, is I'm going to take Marcel Coetzee as the 5th one.
Yeah, I'd love to see him go. I think there are a few people in world rugby that could play international quality rugby at 6, 7 and 8, and Marcel's one of them. So he would go for me, but I still think he's on the fringes. I'd like to see Elstad play this weekend at 7.
Yeah, for me it would be Kwagga and Elstad and
Masoud. And I just I'd like him to go just because so we can give Pieter-Steph du Toit a break, A, and B, in the World Cup have options. And I think Elstad is one of the best like for like replacements, but Mostert can cover there. Dwayne, worst case scenario, can play there, and so can Marcel, and you can always put Flo there if you have to.
I think that's why I went with the 4 locks, because they could. For me, I feel there could be a time where you might not want to play Mostert lock this game and flank the next game, so you could possibly play RG, Lewitt and Eben all together as locks and put Mostert into that loose forward category if you really want to, even though that we've seen enough of him playing international rugby there. I know some people aren't fans of him playing there, but he's played club rugby enough, well, franchise rugby enough, and he can definitely do a job there. He's not going to let you down too much if he does play on the side at scrum.
Can 9s we sorted?
Well, you need to give me your 6th Lucy.
Did I not?
No,
I just want Marcy to go.
Between Elstad and Kwagga, I guess, or anyone else.
Because
you never said no to any of mine.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with yours. I am. I don't have an issue with that.
You've gone for a balance of 6 there, so who's your 6th one?
No, I'm happy with your locks and your Lucy's.
So you're going to pick 5?
I'm trying to think
4
now.
and 5.
My numbers are getting away from me at the moment, but
I've gone with. You've gone 3 locks.
I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm comfortable with that. I don't have too much of an issue. I'm just trying to think who's missing out, because I know we were worried about someone missing out, but we can jump into that at another side. But so 9s, we happy with our 9s, eh?
Yeah, we've picked all 3.
Yeah.
Well, you talked me into taking all 3 with.
Yeah.
So I'll take all 3.
So it's Faf, Herschel, and Quibus. Okay.
Correct.
10s we sorted.
12. The 2. Taking the 2 with.
12.
So I've taken. Well, I picked the. Okay, so I've gone with Damien. As centres, not just 12. So I've taken Damien, Krill, and I've thrown Franz Steyn into that mix.
Yes.
Obviously, his utility, we know we can play where we need him to be. So, I don't think we need more than that in the squad.
We'll have 3. We'll have 3 centres. You'll have 3 centres and then someone playing a utility.
Which is basically what we have there. We have Franz Steyn can be that utility, and you've got 3 centres.
Okay. So now the back 3 obviously is the big one we need to discuss, but I'm going to let you go with that, and then we can elaborate a little bit more.
Okay, I've picked 3 wingers,
Yeah.
and it's Mpimpi, Nkosi, and Colby.
Okay.
Yes, Colby is a utility, but I've picked him as
Yeah.
a winger. And I've picked 2 15s. They're also not... one is a 15, the one not really. I've done Billy LaRue and Dylan Lades.
And Lates is your bolter.
Lades is the one that's going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons.
So I'm not opposed to that. I'd really like to see Lates under Rassie, and I'm hoping we'll see it this weekend. I think he's a more consistent performer than Willems currently, because we don't quite know what we're going to get in terms of injury-wise. That's the only reason I'm saying that. And Gelant is needing 2, 3, 4, possibly 4 more games, 5, to get back in the groove. And Billy LaRue needs someone to be able to free him up a little bit. Colby can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Stain, we
Can
still need
play there,
another, have a look there. But I think Lates would be a good shot. So that is the bombshell. But I want to know who's going to be your left wing and who's going to be your right wing. Because it is massive, contentious issue. I think we all agree.
I know you're an Nkosi fan.
I am. I don't think he's put a foot... I don't think he deserves to be dropped.
Me neither.
So I think he needs to be talked about, but
I'm going to go straight into it. I'm not a fan of the brigade that says Colby off the bench for the last 20 minutes.
No. So Colby must start.
So Colby 14.
Who's on the left wing?
And Pimpy at 11.
Okay. So Nkosi's benching. With who? Krill.
With Krill.
You can't have.
And... Well, you could have Stain benching even.
Instead
He's
of?
played 12 and 13.
So you're going to have Stain. You're going to have Elton Yankees at 10.
Yeah.
Then you need one utility back. Is that Krill or Stain?
Stain.
Okay. That's a massive shot. I think my Pimpy's done. I'm really happy with my Pimpy's performance this weekend.
I just don't think... I think at the moment...
Dianti, how do you feel about that? Oh, that's right. That was the other bombshell.
That's the bombshell that I haven't picked. I hope people pick that up.
So no...
And it's got nothing against the player and
You
the
just
type
don't
of player he is.
You just don't think that he's had enough game time?
I think his lack of game time is going to play against him tremendously.
Yeah, so we were chatting about this weekend, and I mean, I don't know when last he played, but he's supposed to be back to fitness. There's a chance he might not play this weekend, and that's a worry.
That is purely the only reason why I don't have him in the squad.
He's going to miss the boat by a few days, it sounds like, yeah?
It's the problem is Sia has at least had a bit of, even though it's 25 minutes or whatever of rugby, but he's already been confirmed that he is playing this weekend, whether it's off the bench or not. I'm still happy with that. But Rassie did say in a press conference this week, coming off the plane, that he can't take players that haven't played rugby the last few weeks. So if people are talking about Warren Whiteley not being can't do enough to get a spot, I think Piwe falls into that same category. We don't know what the squad's going to look like for the Lions this week, but if he doesn't play a large chunk of that game, I think he's in trouble. And that's why I've gone with the wild card of Dylan Lades, is the fact that he's played a lot of Super Rugby this season. No injuries, really. He's played quite a bit of the Currie Cup so far. He's been in and out of Bok camps, so he understands the setup and he understands everything else. His utility, he can play 11. He can play 15. You can use him around wherever you need to.
He falls into that 10-12 channel in second, third phase, yeah.
So it's a utility player, and it's a guy. For me, he's another player. He's not your 10 out of 10. He's not your 9 out of 10. He can produce those performances, but he's a good solid player that's not going to let you down. And I think that's why he might be the safer pick if you're looking at fitness and if you're looking at players that have game time behind them.
Okay, so my question to you, Apiwa Dianti gets 60 minutes for the Lions this weekend. Would you select him for the Springbok squad for the World Cup?
Oh, that's so difficult, eh?
I thought I'd drop that in there.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing that Rassie's been talking about for a while, and he always says that he's been talking about how, how strenuous and how tough Test match rugby is, and he's always talking about you can't just throw players from that level into international games, and if you look at that Springbok game, that game against New Zealand, there was a few players that hadn't played Springbok rugby or Test rugby for a while, and you could see they were slightly off the pace. Is he going to be on the pace from the get-go? And that worries me.
Deontay's played a fair whack of Super Rugby.
100%.
And he's played a lot over the last sort of season.
But
so
if
he's
it's
been
6 weeks or whatever, and that,
so I think if he gets 60 minutes this week for the Lions, let's say he plays for the Lions this weekend and he gets through 60 minutes.
I think he'll go then. I think he's got a better shot at going. If he plays 60 minutes,
he has to play this weekend.
Yeah, if he plays 60 minutes this weekend, forget about my suggestion of Lades. I think he goes, no problem. Then obviously Steyn becomes the utility of could cover 15.
Colby as well.
And Colby could cover
telling you now,
15.
When Cheslin Colby plays 15 for the Springboks, everyone's eyes are going to be blown wide open. There's going to be interesting. Billy LaRue's been ambling through and just going through the motions and getting back in. He does need that game time and to get that confidence back because he has been struggling. He hasn't put a foot wrong, so it's kind of like we expect him more. But the truth is the more he brings, the more errors he makes. Sometimes if he's forcing it, so he's not needed to force it, which is great because everyone else is doing the job. So he's allowed to get in his own time. So we're waiting for him to kind of hit it. But yeah, we've got options at 15, and our winging options are pretty good. Colby can play 11.
Yeah,
I know I've seen him play for Stade Francais. So, but I prefer him on the right wing, and it's very clear that he's good on the right wing. And of course, he used to be in a left wing before they converted.
He's played both sides as well, so it's
he broke Super Rugby, broke into the Sharks team as a left wing, and he did flip and roll his first season. So
he's also another player that you can play both sides. I know he's better.
Busting our ass to move him. Now we want to move him back.
It's
the nature of the beast.
It's the nature of the
beast. Mapimpi must hold that 11 jumper. He must keep it until Deontay is ready. I think Mapimpi is going to be the answer there.
What if you had to name one shock that's not going into the squad? Who's your shock? Do you think? Clearly mine's a Piwe. That's the shock one. I think that doesn't. If he doesn't play this weekend, of course.
I don't know. I think Kwagga not going is not a shock to many people. We kind of know that. I think Kutsia might not go. I just don't quite know who's going to be filling in those gaps. I might have got my numbers wrong in terms of my locks and my loosies, but I think Marcel Kutsia's on the fringe.
I think Alstad's got a better chance at him.
No, I don't.
Gone as well.
I think maybe I don't quite know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll take an extra lock.
You think they might go 4 locks and also just 5 loosies?
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll wait and see. But either which way, whoever they select, I'm quite happy. Like, we're not in a place where we don't want a player to go. We're worried about who's going to miss out. So.
And your wingers, happy with... You want 4 or you're happy with 3?
Yeah, in terms of the squad numbers, I'm not entirely sure. I just want to know how we're going to work around Colby and Nkosi starting. And I want to know Rusty's thoughts
I don't think both of them will start. I think it'll be one or the other, unfortunately.
So that's my thing. Can you afford not to start Colby? No. Does Nkosi deserve not to start? No. It's a tough one, so they're going to have to manage that better. That's why I'm thinking they might start Nkosi on the right wing and Colby at 15 at some stage, just to give it a bit of a tonk.
If something happens to Mapimpi, would you be okay with Nkosi filling in at 11?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think we put so much time and effort in putting him on the right. I think maybe moving...
That's if a Piwe is obviously not in the squad and doesn't make it.
Tough one. Lates will start 11. I don't know. It's quite an interesting one. That's quite an interesting space. I think we're thin at 15. I think that's the problem that we need to fill in. And I think we want injury away from struggling at 10. And they're part of our spine, the 10 and 15. Yeah. So it's a bit of a worry. In terms of everything else, we are very, very, very comfortable.
Cool. That's it. Oh, should do a closing thing, I guess.
Oh.
We'll just do whatever.
That's it.
So that's it for another episode of our pilot series. Sean, thank you for coming out once again.
Thank you, and enjoy the rugby this weekend.
I will. I probably won't see you next week though, so it will possibly be you and Ryan who will be back.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it won't be too sad. Hopefully, Chelsea have a better weekend.
Did they play this weekend?
Yeah, they did.
Oh no, they didn't play, but they got beaten.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Please stay tuned for next week. We will have a wrap up, I guess, of the Argentina game.
Absolutely, and subscribe to the YouTube channel
Please
so you can pick
subscribe
us
to
up
the
every
YouTube
time.
channel. Yeah, it'll be great. And there'll be more content as we go, especially World Cup time. Full episodes will be live. So thank you very much, and see you next week.